The Origami Haiku story starts with a tradie called Warren leaning against our door as we're starting the whole process. It has become the lighthouse Toowoomba. Yeah. And he came in to inquire whether he could hire a car space for a skip. Nothing to do with literacy or anything like that. Yeah. And he would pop in each day as we were negotiating that, which became our first income. Was that our first check, Emily?
I thought it was going to be some amazing children's workshop. No. There's a skip hire in our current empty car park because we had no children had come in the door yet. You've got to start somewhere.
And Wazza said, what are you guys doing here? Really curious because we were doing really weird things. The space looks unusual, as David, as you walk in, you walk into grass and birds on the ceilings and, it's a topsy-turvy kind of place.
Yeah, I think I just walked over there and I said, so what are you guys doing here anyway? Because I knew the previous tenants in there, they were there for a long time. So I was sort of wondering what was going on and having a bit of a sticky beak. Yeah, just sort of asked them what was going on, and Emily took me for a bit of a tour. I think it was still in the pipeline of what was what and where everything was going, but she tried to paint the picture as best she could and I tried to envision it. Right.
And we described what our ambitions were with the literacy workshops and particularly the one-way library and the idea of rehoming books. And he said, oh my goodness, my missus will love this place.
Christina, she's quite helpful, for things like that. And she's in marketing as well. So I thought, where she was at the time, I don't know who approached who, but kicked off pretty good, I think.
Anyway, so he hounded her until she came in.
Well, initially I had no idea what he was on about. So it definitely sounded very interesting, what he had put forward.
And she just came in one day and said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He's been driving me nuts. If I don't come in, I know, I can appreciate you're busy. I'm unannounced, blah, blah. And what you do. And we told her, and he was right. Christina was absolutely in raptures with the whole idea.
Well, what Warwick had explained was just there were some ladies that were working out of the Collier's old office doing something with books and for children. So that's about as far as I knew. It's not until you actually step inside that you really see the magic of what they're trying to achieve there. It was their vision and their excitement that just made me excited and just so willing to help. At this point in time, I was doing marketing and PR for Whipples alongside David Russell. He always paved a path for me in showing me that how important it is for community connections and giving back. So David was a part of a lot of other organisations in Toowoomba, so this was a new, unique one that he hadn't heard of. So I was very excited to sort of step in and learn a little bit more about them and see what we could do as a company to assist them.
So she then really got everyone up and going before the Lifeline Book Fair to go hunting and gathering for children's books. And we didn't know any of this, and then came back in, a month or so later with over 1.5 metre pile of children's books for the one-way library, which was so beautiful. And Emily asked her our favourite question.
What's your superpower?
They had turned around and asked me, do you have a superpower? We're wanting to get some workshops up and running. And I thought to myself, superpower? I'm a mum, I work full time, I'm not very interesting. I'm not a very good cook or anything like that. So I said, I make origami.
And Emily got the giggles and said, look, I'm sure we could tie in a literacy angle, which we did because we knew about the book Sadako, which is the story of 1,000 paper cranes, which is a story of peace. And it was then months later that Christina said, no, I'm really serious about that. I'd really, really love to give you a workshop. Let's test it. I haven't done it before. How can we pull it together? And we juggled backwards and forwards, landed on a date. And this is where the serendipity comes in, which is what we're really enjoying here. In fact, we should be called the Serendipity Writers Centre.
We could, but children can't spell serendipity.
Okay, we'll work on that one. Okay, no, don't change things.
Yeah. Lovely idea, but no. Yeah.
So serendipitously, we had our first meeting actually in the Writers Centre with Garth Hamilton. And We were saying, for example, we've got a workshop coming up, 3 days' time, origami and haiku, and tying it together. Now, this is just after ex-President Abe had been assassinated in Japan. It was very dark days for the Japanese people, particularly for Mrs. Abe. And he suggested that if there was anything from the workshop, that it would be lovely to send it down. They'd just opened the condolence book down at Parliament House. And we, literally held on to that idea, went into the workshop, and the children were just so remarkable. They were silent as they did it. They were completely entranced from the beginning. Christina has this lovely, soft voice, and I think it is that corporateness that, she gets things done. But everyone did the workshop. But we had told the children that Mrs. Abe was very sad, that cranes are a symbol of peace, that should they choose, we will bundle them up, and that Mr. Hamilton would deliver them to Canberra.